What's up, everybody? Steve here. Look, if you guys are paycheck to paycheck, you guys are not going to want to miss this video because I'm going to talk about a lot of things that a lot of people are not talking about. First, let's talk about paycheck to paycheck. It's estimated, I've seen articles and charts from 63% to 78% of people are paycheck to paycheck. And trust me guys, I've been there in my lifetime. In the last real estate recession, not only was I in a position of paycheck to paycheck, but I was racking up credit card debt just to pay my bills. So actually, I wasn't even paycheck to paycheck. I was completely upside down. And this is one of the reasons why I want to make this video, because we have to prepare if we are in a situation of paycheck to paycheck, because guys, I can tell you things are about to change. And one of the things is with the Fed and the printing of money, they blatantly say that they are going to push inflation on us. For one thing, I think inflation is already here, and I know if you guys don't know anything about inflation, think about it. The last time you were at a grocery store, how much did you spend to feed you and your family for the week? Was it $50? Was it $100? Was it $200? And then think about maybe, I don't know, 3, 4, 5, even 10 years ago. What was the cost back then? I can tell you, odds are your perishable items were a hell of a lot less. So we're going to talk about a handful of things, from gas prices to perishable items like everything that you're gonna buy at a grocery store, as well as real estate and what I predict is gonna happen with the real estate market and how this is gonna contribute to the real estate market. So first, let's talk about gasoline. In the state of Florida, man, for several years, we were paying about $2 a gallon for regular gas. Actually, it went below $2 as well. And right now, we're about $2.50 pretty much overnight since the Biden administration got in. And, you know, they're doing a lot of things in terms of shutting down the Keystone Pipeline and making us more energy dependent. So I anticipate this to increase as well, unfortunately. But I just want to throw some numbers at you guys to kind of give you an idea of what happens if gas prices do rise. Now look, gas prices already went from $2 a gallon to $2.50, so that was already a 25% increase literally overnight within the last handful of months. Now let's say that gas prices increase 30% from this $2.50, which they're going to increase. There's no doubt about it. So let's just, I want to throw real numbers at you guys. So let's say it increases 30%. That's going to be 75 cents per gallon in gas, okay? Now you guys might be thinking, okay, a 10 cent increase, 70 cent increase, all this kind of stuff. But what most people don't do in life, they don't budget their money. They don't see what all these smalls in terms of like cumulative and all added together. And that's kind of what I want you guys starting to think about, and start writing this stuff down too, of, you know, your gas budget, your food budget, your home budget, because this is going to be important. If you guys, you know, are not preparing for this, you're going to be in a world of hurt. All right, so 30% increase, that's going to increase 75 cents per gallon. Now, that's a $15 increase if I have a 20-gallon tank, okay? That's $15 more every time I fill up with that increase. Now, let's say over a month's period, 15 times 4, that's going to be an additional $60 extra per month, okay? Now, right now, you guys might be like, you know, that's no big deal. That's, you know, that's you know, a couple cases of beer or whatever the case is. No big deal, right? But it is a big deal, because there's going to be other things that we're going to talk about, like perishable items. So let's take this for an example. Let's say every time you go to the grocery store right now, it's $100 per week. So let's say that $100 a week increased 30% for perishable items. And now that's going to be an addition $120 per month just going to the grocery store if we see inflation increase, which odds are it's gonna happen. Now, another thing that's not really talked about is homeowners insurance. They're anticipating insurance across the entire United States for the most part to increase. So let's just throw that in the mix as well. And let's say right now you're paying $100 per month in insurance, and you increase that, that's gonna be an additional $30 per month of an increase of your homeowner's insurance. Now, just with those three items, gasoline, homeowners insurance, as well as perishable items that you need to live. Those 3 items added together gives you $210 extra per month in expenditures. The whole point of this exercise is to show you how these smalls add up. Now, what else are we missing? What else are we missing from potential inflation? There are other things that we're not even going to get into detail, but I feel like these are the main, most important things. And bottom line, low income and middle class people are going to be squeezed. Well, I'm going to help you guys out with some tips on how we can prepare for this. But before we get there, let's talk about real estate and how this is going to affect the real estate market in my estimation, outside of everything else that's going on right now with the extensions of forbearance, the extension of the moratorium for evictions, and all this other stuff going on. Even right now, obviously our real estate market is completely different than the last real estate recession. Last real estate recession, predatory lending, these really shit loans. If you had a pulse and you could breathe, you're probably going to get a loan back in that market. Obviously, our lending requirements are a little bit different in this real estate market. But let's take for an example. Let's say that you got a safe 30-year fixed mortgage. Okay, that's fine. That's great. Now, that safe loan, is it really that safe if you guys bought the loan with, say, little money down, and you really need pretty much every dime to pay your mortgage, and you guys are on fixed income, and then all of a sudden inflation hits? Now you're going to be in a position that it's going to be a little bit more difficult to pay your mortgage. You might have to take a second job. Somebody else in the family might have to contribute, might have to rent out a room, do a little house hacking, or you might have to sell your property. So I think that we're gonna see more people get crunched and squeezed in an inflation market, and people are gonna have to put their properties on the market, which is gonna increase supply. So I think we're gonna have more people come to market with more of a supply. Now, I think in the beginning, I think that a lot of people that list their properties in the beginning, they're gonna have plenty of equity there. They're gonna get out. They're going to take a chunk of change and they're going to be good. But I think as supply increases, obviously supply and demand decreases, and what happens there? Values go down. So if values go down, I think eventually people are going to be upside down in their mortgages, which will lead to short sales, which could lead to foreclosures and a whole mess with our real estate market. And one other thing that I want to address, and this is just something that I see here in Florida, and also I was recently in Pennsylvania. I had to pick up a truck and I drove it 18 and a half hours all the way to Florida, and I had a lot of time to think and just watch. And anyway, I'm watching cars, right? And I noticed in Southwest Florida, or Florida in general, there's a lot of new cars, but there were brand new cars that entire trip driving. It was rare that I saw like a shitter on the road. And I'm just thinking, I'm like, how many people have bought new cars over the last 5 years or whatever the case is? I think it's astonishing. I think there's a lot of people with a lot of car debt out there. I have not done the research as to the amount of car debt out there. Maybe it's another video I'll do, but I feel like, and my instinct and my prediction on this, I feel that a lot of people are going to have a hard time making their car payment because of inflation. They're going to be more inclined to pay on their mortgage as opposed to the car, their car loan. So I think we're going to see an uptick of, car foreclosures, or what do we call them? Repos. So people, paycheck to paycheck, what can we do right now? Number one, we have to get smart with money. The whole reason for this exercise is to get you guys putting out a budget, laying out a budget. I've met so many, even real estate agents that I've dealt with in the past, and even presently. The first thing that we do in a business plan session is I want to talk about all their personal finances, because if you guys are financially, personally responsible, you're going to be successful because you guys are paying attention to your overhead. If your overhead is very high, you are more stressed out. It's just a bad position to be in, and your chances of success, financial success, is very low if you're not financially responsible. So number one is put a budget together and figure out what can we eliminate right now from our expenditure column? What can we live without? And whatever that is, get rid of it and start saving that money because you're gonna need it. The second thing is housing. Look, housing is usually the main expense for most people. And if you have a house and you're kind of struggling there and things are really tight and you have equity in it, you might want to consider selling your property. So reach out to a local real estate expert and find out maybe the value on it, have them do a CMA on the property, see if it's worth it. Other strategies with housing is, maybe you're renting or whatever the case is, but are there other ways to do some house hacking? Can you rent out a room, or maybe you have a garage? Can you rent out the garage? Maybe you have some land. Can you rent out some area of your land for people to park boats or whatever the case is? I right now would concentrate on anything possible to offset personal expense, meaning passively being able to create more income coming in off of the place that I live. And lastly, it's gonna be a certain level of sacrifice. Again, as previously mentioned, I've been there, I've had to sacrifice. I've done a lot to basically restart in the last real estate recession. Again, I think we're coming into really gloomy times. Time will tell, but in any case, let's say nothing happens. If you guys take these tips, concentrate on this, get rid of certain liabilities, you guys are gonna just be in a better financial position regardless. So do what you need to do, sacrifice a little bit, get lean financially, create a budget for you and your family. And anyway, if you guys got any value out of this, I appreciate a big thumbs up and let me know your thoughts. I wanna hear about, what do you think about this inflation? What do you think about gas prices? What do you think about the real estate market? Drop a comment below. Let me know what's going on in your area, and I appreciate it. And I'll see you guys on the next video. Thanks a lot.